Satnam, yogis and yoginis. Hello, welcome back. Welcome to the live stream. I think the music started again and I had to stop it. But here we are. Say hello if you are viewing online in the moment, if you are connecting right now. Or you can say hello in the comments if you're watching the video recorded. So today we have a live stream. Initially, I didn't have anything planned, but this morning I felt that it would be nice to explore the Gayatri mantra. Gayatri mantra, this is what I'm suggesting today, but it's an open day, so if anybody wants to suggest something else, you can just say it. But the Gayatri mantra, when I say the Gayatri mantra, I mean the classic Gayatri mantra, because some people understand the Gayatri for different Gayatris, and the reason is because Gayatri is more like, is the term that is generally used for the metric that is used as kind of like a poem. So any mantra that would follow that kind of metric would be considered a Gayatri. So when I talk about Gayatri today, I'm going to be referring to the classical one, the one that is referred in the Vedas, in the Rig Veda, I think it is. Let me just check. I have some notes to read from to talk about this today, because I don't want to make mistakes with the translation. I'm not so familiar with the specific translation of every sound, of every word, and I want to make sure that I get it right. So I've been doing a little search this morning in the internet just before coming online. So I'm not overly prepared on this. We're going to improvise mostly. But yeah, well, I don't see it right here, but I think it's from the Rig Veda. We may find it somewhere else. But yeah, so Gayatri Mantra is one of the most sacred mantras of Indian tradition. And it would be something that is very revered, like considered like one of the supreme mantras. It's also like it's considered to be like the mother of the Vedas, like the Vedas come out of this mantra. It's like sometimes we can see some mantras synthesize the essence of something bigger, right? Like when we see the Mul Mantra, and we hear, Mul Mantra contains the essence of the whole Sri Guru Granth Sahib, right? Or the whole Japji, right? And the Japji contains the essence of the whole Sri Guru Granth Sahib. So in the same way, it's said that the Gayatri Mantra would contain the essence of all the Vedas. So being so important, then this is a mantra that is chanted with a lot of reverence and devotion, and it has a particularly important presence in terms of as part of your sadhana, as part of sadhana. And there is a particular kinds of sadhana which would be including the Gayatri Mantra in them. And I remember learning from my mantra teacher that this would be, because it's connected to the sun, I will go into that in a minute, but because it's connected to the sun, then you would chant the Gayatri Mantra as the sun is rising. So that would be it's like a prayer, but it's also like saying thank you to the sun for coming and asking for the sun to bring us light. And we know, the spiritual path is filled with utilizing metaphors linked to the light, because the light is what's going to dispel the darkness in us. Generally, the darkness is considered our ignorance. So we are asking for light, we're asking for enlightenment. So that this mantra, the Gayatri, is going to be representing that light. So I'm gonna just mention one thing. I talked about this when we were doing the mantra course, but just in case. We don't need to know the meaning of the mantras for them to have an effect on us. We don't know to understand what they are saying for them to for us to benefit from chanting them. And in fact, sometimes, occasionally, not knowing what the mantra means may actually be beneficial, because sometimes the meaning of the mantras get in the middle of our experience. And sometimes our mind is going to be an obstacle to experiencing the effect of the mantra. I don't think this is the case with the Gayatri mantra, because the meaning is quite interesting. And if we can align our mind with what it means, we can be chanting the mantra, and at the same time, the mind can say, yes, I agree to that. I like what you are saying, right? I like what you are chanting. So it can humbly be at our service, which is what we want. Yeah, we want the mind to be aligned with what we want to do, and not to be distracting us and pulling us away towards something else. So understanding the meaning of the mantra is generally useful, I would say, and also in this case, well, it's going to give us some insight into a number of things. This Gayatri mantra has like layers of meaning. I think it's a very, very open, like many of the teachings in general, yeah, many of the spiritual teachings, but also mantras, they are very open to interpretation. So there's probably been many books written on this. So what am I going to say that is something new? Probably nothing. I'm just going to reflect upon it a little bit and meditate upon it. Again, I'm not an expert on this topic, so I'm just going to read something of what we can find online. But then we're going to extract our own conclusions and make our own meditation from that. So the idea is that the mind is going to be in service with our practice, and then we're going to experience it. We're going to be chanting it today. But also, I think there is another thing with the mind, and it's that Gayatri itself, the metric that is used, which has like 8 syllables, the number 8 has a very simple, it's a very simple way to trap the mind. And remember, the word mantra is like a trap for the mind, right? So chanting a mantra generally traps the mind, but chanting the Gayatri mantra, it's one mantra that is going to be more helpful in trapping the mind because of the structure of the mantra itself. Satnam, Bea, hello, how are you? Welcome to the stream. Good to see you here. I don't know if you know the Gayatri mantra, Bea, but we're going to be chanting it today. So we're going to go into that in a minute. So I was just explaining how we are going to reflect upon the meaning. And I was talking about the metric right now. The Gayatri mantra has a metric of 8 syllables. And the Gayatri mantra itself, the one that we can find in the Vedas, again, I think is the Rig Veda. I think it's the Rig Veda. Excuse me. Oh dear. So in this particular Gayatri mantra, again, all those who have this metric can be called Gayatri, but this one in particular, the Gayatri mantra that is in the Rig Vedas, then that one has 3 phrases of 8 elements. And there is the Om Bhurbuva Swav to start, and then there is 3 more phrases, and it contains 8 times 3 elements. And there is a lot of significance to these 24 elements because, 8 times 3 is 24. 24 is a number that is significant in many ways. I mean, right now, nowadays in our Western society, the way we measure time, we have 24 hours in a day. That's already interesting, yeah? We have 12 zodiac signs. That's interesting. And there is something else also. Hi, Guru, thanks for the update. Yeah, welcome. Welcome to the stream. Do you chant the Gayatri? Do you know the mantra? And more about 24. Let's see. We were talking about in the mantra course, in the mind course. I keep saying mantra course. In the mind course we have been doing and we are still doing. There was one of the days where we explored Samkhya philosophy. You may remember that if you were here. And I did a drawing, a diagram with let's see, I have so many diagrams right now on the table. Sometimes it's difficult to find the right one, but let me put it here. So it was this one, yeah. You may remember the Purusha, Prakriti, and the development, yeah. And in this diagram, we can see, I said this is like an adaptation of the diagram, the original diagram that they would use for Samkhya philosophy. But so in the Samkhya philosophy, you can see these 24 elements, and they would be Purusha and Prakriti. And I think that's it, Purusha and Prakriti, or is it just Prakriti? I mean, it's coming from Purusha, maybe Prakriti is the first one. And then there's Buddhi, that would be one. It would be generally placed up here. And then there is Ahankar and Manas, yeah? These are three. And then so that we have four so far. Let me see if I can count them all correctly, yeah? So there is so this would be Prakriti, because it's like the 24 elements of manifestation. So I guess because Purusha is not manifested, so that would not be counted, I believe. So Prakriti would be one. Then we have Manas, Buddhi, and Ahankar. That would be three more. So that's four. You say, no, you've never chanted this one before. Looking forward to exploring it. Wonderful. Yeah, it's considered the most sacred, or one of the most sacred chants of the Hindu chants. Is the mother of all the Vedas. So it's a good mantra to know. So we have four, and then there would be the 5 indriyas, yeah, the taste and smell and all that. The 5 karmendriyas, the 5 organs of action, like touching and speaking and moving, so on. We already seen this many times. And then there's the 5 tattvas, yeah. So earth, water, fire, air. And then there is the 5, so I have here the 5 subtle elements of 5 tanmatras, being sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. So those would be equivalent to the 5 gyanendriyas, the 5 senses of perception. I may be wrong with this. We may need to check that again. That's it. Let's do a quick search. I'm not preparing everything in advance. I want to improvise a little bit as well in these streams. So you're going to need to be a little bit patient sometimes. So yes, 5 tanmatras, 5 mahabhutas, 5 karmendriyas, 5 kinendriyas, and the Prakriti, Buddhi, Manas, and Ahankar. Yeah, so it's just the way I mentioned it. So the 5. So one of the 5. So even the sense of smell is perceiving the smell. So that the subtle essence is the smell, and we perceive it through the sense of smell. So they separate these tanmatras from the gyanendriyas. Yeah, so it's separated like that. Anyway, so those are 24. So we would say that there's 24 elements to the creation, to the manifestation. Yeah, and the Gayatri mantra would contain these 24 elements. And so it would be considered that it's activating these 24 elements and is a relationship to the 24 elements in a number of ways. So that's also very interesting. And in fact, it makes me want to go element by element and sound by sound and figure out how that sound is connected to each element. No? So which sound is earth, which sound is water, which sound is smell, which sound is touch, and so on. That would be very interesting, but that would be probably very tedious for a stream. I don't know, maybe you would be interested, but I'm thinking it could be like an intellectual exercise more than particularly meditative process. So I'm going to leave it, but I'm going to just put it there. So there's 24 elements in Sankhya philosophy, 24 particles within the Gayatri mantra, which are generally associated, as well as, other 24 things that we can find in the world. What else? Well, even if you've never chanted the Gayatri mantra, this would be a very significant one, because traditionally, when you would learn pranayam, You may have seen in the in practice of pranayamas how they often talk about the ratio between the inhale, the holding, and the exhale. Yeah, Puraka, Rechaka, Kumbhaka. Yeah. So how much you inhale, how much you hold, how much you exhale would create the pattern of which you do that. That would create an effect on your consciousness. So you can like hold for inhale in one, and then hold 4 times what you take to inhale, and exhale in 2 times. That would be a ratio of 1:4:2. Or if you do if the ratio is written like 1:2:1:1, would mean inhaling in 1, holding for 2, exhaling in 1, holding with 1. And this 1, when I'm saying 1, what does it mean to inhale for 1? Well, in the traditional practice of pranayama, the way I've seen it taught, this 1 is 1 Gayatri mantra. So we may have seen these ratios many times, but it doesn't correspond to seconds, because if you think about it, inhale 1, hold 4, that would be 2, 3, 4. So it's like really quick. It doesn't make any sense. So when you see the ratios 1:4:2 or 1:2:1 or 1:4:8 or 1:4:12, it doesn't mean seconds. It actually means Gayatri mantra. So you would be inhaling throughout, and throughout the inhalation, you would be chanting within 1 Gayatri mantra, which we're going to go into it in a minute, yeah? And it's a rather long mantra. So you would be inhaling all the time while repeating the mantra. And now, I mentioned the structure of this mantra, the way it is designed, these 8 parts. The 8 is a symbol of infinite, yeah? And the mind is associated to the number 7. So when you chant something 8 times, it's like going beyond the mind. And somehow the mind gets trapped by this sequence, this cadence, the tung, 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 tung. And that's why, music with 8 elements or things like that can help to hold the mind steady and not to be distracted. So that's an interesting factor, that we would use the Gayatri mantra with this rhythm of 8 to hold the mind steady and to stay in a meditative state. So a good explanation of how, it's a good understanding of how these different elements, the structure, the rhythm, the words, the elements, this is all connected to help the mind be steady and have the personal experience of what the mantra is about. So, should we go into that? Should we talk about what the mantra is about? And let's see it written. So maybe today, because it's going to be on the screen for us to chant it. Let me do it. Hello, can you receive me? Can you see me? If you are online, please let me know. Just write in the chat that you are seeing me. Otherwise, I need to connect an extra device to try to see if I'm online or not. Hello, hello. Can you see me? Okay, let me check. If you are seeing me, please be patient. 1 second. And you can see me and hear me. Okay, thank you. Well, this is one of the things with live streaming. Well, we just witnessed the... what I cannot see. You can... yeah. Here it is. Okay. So this is the power of the Gayatri mantra. It totally collapsed my computer just by showing it on the screen. This is the power of mantra. I was saying, like, it can hypnotize the mind, it can trap the mind, it can lock the mind, and it locked the computer. So My streaming service got locked. So what I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna risk another. Let's see. This shows okay. Yes, it shows okay. So I'm gonna be doing it here. Om Bur Buba. I'm gonna write it here. The mantra. Yeah. But it's it got blocked. So apologies for that. I'm sorry. This is one of the things with live streams. Let's get some more light here. There we go. Okay. So we're going to do it ourselves. We're going to write it ourselves. Actually, it's a good practice in general to write whatever we are learning because the brain understands by writing. So by writing it is going to help the brain as well. So this is called Gayatri. Mantra. So the Gayatri mantra starts like all classical mantras. We would start with this, with the Om. This is the basic, and then maybe what I can do is I can just write it all, and then I will go through the interpretation and the understanding of what it means. So let's go with that. So it's Om Bhur Bhuvam Swaham. And there's probably some little symbols missing. Yeah, Bhur is long, something like that. I may need to check some of the sounds, whether they are long or short. 1 second. Tat Saviturum. Like Gayatri, I think it's written like this. Yeah. Savitur Varenyam. Is it too small? I hope not. Bhargom Devasyam. Is it Dimahi or Dhi or Dhimahi? Let me just check. I'm wondering whether it has an H or not. It does have an H. Here we have the right pronunciation as well. I wrote it correctly. Varenyam. And Devasya Dhimahi. Dhimahi. Dhiyo. Yo. Na. Prachodayat. Dayat. That's it. Okay. All right. This is the mantra. Om Bhurvasva Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. So this is the Gayatri mantra, and here we could identify the 24 elements to it. Let us see what it means. Let's go slowly to try to understand every one of the parts, and then we will do some sort of a little bit of analysis over that. But we know what Om is. Om is universal sound. Yeah, Om is the sound of the universe, the sound of the primordial sound, the primeval sound, everywhere in the universe. Let's go for Bhur. Bhur, Bhuva, Swa. It's actually the three elements go generally together, and is something like something associated to the three worlds, like the earth and then the space between the earth and the heavens. Could be the air or the vibration or the ether, can be something around between the earth and the heavens. And when we often do, when we are doing yogic diagrams, I often talk about the lower triangle, the heart, and the higher triangle, right? And we would see this Om Bur Bhuva Swa would be, we could associate it to that as well. Let me see if I have any diagram here with the three triangles. Yes. This is an ugly drawing, but basically that was the lower three triangles, the higher three triangles, the heart in the middle, and this would be in relationship to the earth, in relationship to the heavens, and us humans living in between both. So Bur Bhuva Swa, we could see how it's a connection between Bur Bhuva Swa. There is these three different elements that will be associated to that. All right. Let's see. Om Bur Bhuva Swa Tat Savitur Varenyam Tat. Let's go. So that means that. But is that generally like when it's talked about like that universal reality, the all, the everything, the totality, yeah? So Tat, it would be kind of like saying like the totality. And Savitur, oh, by the way, we didn't say what the word Gayatri means. I'll go into that in a moment. Let's carry on with this. Savitur, this is the word that is connected with the sun. We talked about how this mantra is associated to the sun. Now, Savitur is associated to the sun. It refers to the sun as the creator, the source of life in the world. And Varenyam is like worshipping, yeah, like worshipping the sun. So this is like a phrase referring to we are showing our devotion to the sun. Now, it says Savitur, it doesn't say, what is the word for sun? Chandra is moon, Surya. It doesn't say Surya, it says Savitur. And there is a slight difference between the two. Surya would be like the physical sun, and it's generally associated to the source of light and, what allows our crops to grow and the tides and so on. Well, the tides are more connected with the moon, but it gives light for the crops to grow. It gives us life, yeah? Now, Savitur, I've seen it written sometimes described as the sun when it is not particularly shining. It's the moment of sunrise, the moment of sundown, and maybe the divine or the spiritual qualities of the sun as the one who brings enlightenment. So more in that sense than in the actual physical sun who is giving us light here and giving life. So by that reason, by the relationship with the sun that is not present, I was doing a little search before and I got this comment as well. Where was it? Savitri is a Vedic solar deity associated with the sun before its rising and after the setting. So considered as a god of inspiration and motivation, but is less about the physical sun and more about the spiritual and the guiding light. So because of that, I've seen people who would say that this mantra associated to Savitri, Savitri being the sun after sunset, and being a mantra about the sun that you would not chanting during the darkness. That sounds unusual to me and doesn't sound even reasonable. And especially if you're in the darkness, that's when you need the light the most. So to me, I would say that this mantra is anytime you can chant it and anytime you can benefit from that. However, it is true that is in the classical Gayatri sadhana, in the sadhana practice of the Gayatri mantra, you would chant it especially when the sun is rising, especially when the sun is setting. So those would be the ideal moments to chant it. But I would say you can chant it anytime, really. And my teacher, Masmare, used to say that it was a good practice to chant by the water. So if you have the chance to be by the water when there is sunrise and sunset, then you can do Tratakam on the horizon, on the sun. And if you're not going to look directly to the sun, you have to be careful about this because we know that the sun rays can damage the eyes. So you would never look at the sun directly after it's more than half. So if it's rising, you look at it only until it's half of it. Yeah. Afterwards, don't look at it. You close your eyes and you can see the image that you have burned into your retina, let's say, no? And then you meditate on that. But when it's rising up until the half, or when it's setting after the half, then it's safe to look at. And this orange-reddish color, yeah? Now, if you look at it by the sea, for example, and it's a pure environment, if it's clean, and as you are looking into the sun, and as the sun is rising, you will see the prana rising as well. And you will see many little points of light moving and dancing and jumping and doing all sorts of things, especially if you keep the eyes focused and unmoving, without moving them. If you move the eyes to try to see the prana, you're not going to see it. But if you keep the eyes still, you can also do it just looking at the sky. Look at the sky and keep the eyes focused and don't move them. And very soon you start seeing the little dots of prana. If you keep the eyes steady, you don't blink. In this practice in particular, you would be doing Tratakam on the sunrise and seeing the prana rising in the world and feel like waves of prana between you and the sun. And you can just say, Om Bhurvubha Swaham. So you are chanting to the sun and calling for the energy of the sun and calling for it to come into you. So it's a very pranic mantra, and it's like a flow. It's creating a flow between the sun and you. I like that today is the day 2 of the month 2. Yeah, number 2 is associated to water flows. So this mantra would be chanted next to the water. It's also very feminine. I'll go into that in a moment, yeah? But there is this flow that you can create through the chant. We're going to chant it in different ways today, and one of the ways we're going to chant it is with this flow. That's probably the first one we're going to try. We're going to create this flow. So let's carry on with the translation so that we can go into the actual practice and the chanting. So, Tatsavitur Varenyam, so this is, let me see, one translation I have here. The adorable Son, the Creator, the essence of our life existence, who is worthy of worship. Yeah, that would be one way of translating it. Another would be just this. I am bowing to you. I am feeling my devotion towards you, the one who is the illuminating sun. Yeah. Okay. Bhargo. That's an unusual word. Sorry, not Bhargo. That's another one. I was thinking of another one. Bhargo devasya dhimahi. Okay. So Bhargo means divine light, and devasya meaning of the deity. Yeah, devas is God, is divine, something divine. Deva, yeah. So it's something divine, something from the divinity. And dhimahi, DH is the same root as Dharana and Dhyana, like Patanjali's, and it's connected to the dhyana particularly. So it's kind of meditation or contemplation, dhimahi. So contemplating on this divine light. Now, Bhargo, I was saying it was a funny word because I was thinking of something else, but Bhargo being associated to light, there is many words that connect to light, yeah, like Jyoti, for example. Yeah, there's many words that can talk about light. Bhargo in particularly, I don't know what's the physical, I don't know the translation, how is it different from others? I'm just thinking of it in terms of sound. BH, it's an explosive sound. So Bhargo, I see it as an explosion of light, yeah? And interesting that we are talking about, imagine, you can feel like you are sitting, it's the darkness, you've been doing some postures, you've been doing your yoga, some prayer, and now you sit, the sun is about to rise, you're looking at the horizon, and there's the first rays of light, yeah? And that's, wow, that's already the swaha, yeah? Because this swaha would be used also in the practices like when you're doing Agnihotra, like the fire ceremony, you are throwing some ghee into the fire, and it's like swaha. So there is a flame coming out, and you say swaha, and swaha represents this fire this illuminating light that is like liberating you from your karmas. It's cleaning your karmas. It's burning your karmas. That's what the fire is doing. So in a way, Vargo, I don't really know. I mean, I know it's associated to light. I don't know exactly what kind of particular light. How is it different from Jyoti or other lights? But this sound of Ba, it's just this Ba explosion for me. So that's how I'm going to relate it, yeah? So Vargo, the light, the Vasya, Devas from the goddess, the gods and the goddesses, and the Imahi associated to meditation. So it's telling us, meditate on this divine light. Let's take this attitude of meditative or contemplative, actually, because meditate is more dhyana, the Imahi is more contemplating, and it's more like allowing it to come to us in a way. And the very word contemplation, I mean, that's more, I'm thinking about the translation now more than the actual word dhimahi, but contemplating is more like looking at, and because we are looking at the sunrise, it makes sense that we could use that word contemplation. So that could be a way to do it, yeah? Now we come on to another funny word, dhiyo, which again has this dh, like dhimahi, but dhiyo is often translated as the intellect. Now, we know that the word intellect is like a strange word that we use for many things associated to the Indian terminology that we have for mind. And in fact, the course that we are doing on the mind, we explore a number of terms for the mind, like we were using manas, ahankar, buddhi, and so on. And the word that we generally is found as a translation for intellect is buddhi. Now, so is this dhiyo buddhi? Exactly. I don't think it's necessarily the same. I think buddhi is often associated, we have two aspects of buddhi, like we were seeing in the course. There is the aspect which is, here, let me just show it. There is an actually intellectual discourse, intellectual analysis, or intellectual logical thinking. That would be the intellectual aspect. But we're saying that buddhi has also a kind of discerning aspect to it, a more spiritual aspect to it that is more in relationship to making choices. So buddhi is very much dedicated to making choices. Now, dhiyo, the way I've seen it, I've read a little bit on it before, because I said I was improvising. Yeah, I'm kind of flying right now. I haven't done a deep study on this before this video. It's not a course. Today we are improvising. So what I read is that dhiyo is more associated to intuition, and is not necessarily so focused on making choices. Yeah, remember buddhi. It's also concerned with intuitive discernment, aligned with the intuition, with the intention to make a wise choice. While dhiyo would be more like an intuitive perception. Yeah, so this is like an intuitive perception. All right, so that's dhiyo. It's kind of sometimes translated as intellect. I don't like that word. I think it has many other meanings that is generally linked to this. This is not talking about being intellectual. This mantra is not about being an intellectual. So I don't like that translation. But I would say it's more connected to the intuitive aspect. So the yo meaning that, yo na, that's who is ours, our, and prachodayat means inspire us, or it can move us forward and inspire us. That would be the kind of translation. So we are calling upon this light, and may it inspire us forward. May it move us forward. It's difficult to say. So we are actually praying for it to move us, to advance, to move on, yeah, and bring this light to this intellectual, is it? I don't know. Intuitive, intellectual perception. So can this light bring us forward? Can we see the light? Can we have an intuitive perception that is going to make us go on, move forward and advance? So that would be a slow, word by word, kind of analytical of every word translation. I'm going to write a few, I'm going to read a few other translations as I see them in the Wikipedia from different teachers. So let's just read Swami Vivekananda. He would translate it like this: we meditate on the glory of that being who has produced this universe. May she enlighten our minds. May she enlighten our minds. So minds would be this Diyo that we are unsure about, but it's interesting that he's asking her. Like so Vivekananda sees this mantra as a call to this divine female being, let's say. And this is because Savitri is often like represented as the consort of Brahma, I believe. So Brahma being the creator of the world, and Savitri being this light which creates life. And also, let's remember, comes from Gayatri. Yeah, the word Gayatri, the word itself. I didn't say what it meant. I said that this is the word that we generally use to the metric of 8 parts. Yeah, like di yo yo na pra chodayat. So it's 8 syllables. But the word itself, Gayatri, 3 we know like mantra is protection. Gaya, it's associated to life and vitality. Yeah. So Gayatri is like protecting our life. Also, Gaia, we call Gaia with an I to this Mother Earth, right? Giving, Earth as a planet which sustains life. And I don't think it's a coincidence that it's called like that. So Gayatri would be like the mantra which protects life, and therefore calling on the Savitri, on that feminine, the consort of Brahma, meaning the creator, right? So calling on this light, which is the creative aspect of the light, and may she enlighten us, may she enlighten our minds. Now I'm thinking something else as I'm speaking. In Spanish, when we say to give birth, right? Remember, Brahma is the one who gave birth to the universe, let's say, the creator of the universe. If we think about giving birth, first of all, that's a very feminine quality, right? So in Spanish, to give birth, we say dar a luz, which means to give light. So when a woman is giving birth to a baby, we are saying she's giving light to a baby, which is really nice concept, not to associate the light with life. When the baby is born, it comes into the light. So that's the meaning, right? And so Savitri being associated to the sun, and the sun being the light which is life-giving. Yeah, and therefore Gaia as the energy, as the prana and the vitality and the life, is protected. Gayatri. Make sense? Hopefully I was able to convey the meaning behind the words. So very, very nice that Swami Vivekananda, probably the first famous yogi in the West, back in the 1890s when he came to the West and did the famous talk in the United Nations, he would represent it as the divine feminine energy, like, God as the divine mother, like Yogananda, who would become a really, really important yogi as well, a figure in the West. He would also pray to the Divine Mother. So here we have a very feminine mantra in the Vedas. Let me read a few more translations. Let's read Aurobindo. I haven't read it before. I'm just improvising today. So let's read it. I like some of Aurobindo's readings, are really inspiring. So he says, we choose the supreme light of the divine sun. We choose it. How interesting, eh? He says that. We aspire that it may impel our minds. Impel is because of this movement forward of prachodaya. Remember, yeah? Prachodaya is pushing us forward. So, how interesting. We aspire that it may impel our minds. He elaborates, the sun is a symbol of divine light that is coming down. Gayatri gives expression to the aspiration, asking for that divine light to come down and give impulsion to all the activities of the mind. So we are asking for the light to come into our minds. In a way, this is a prayer. Yeah. Let's read a few more translations, maybe. How about Ravi Shankar? Let's read Ravi Shankar. Oh, manifest and unmanifest. I guess he's referring to Bhurbhuva Swa. Yeah, Om Bhurbhuva Swa. Yeah, this part that is manifested and manifested. Wave and ray of breath. Wave and ray of breath. Interesting, because when we talk about light, we say it has a certain wavelength. Today is the 2nd of February, yeah? Being water, water is wave. And this mantra being chanted next to water. How interesting that water and light share this quality, yeah? They are waves. And light has wavelengths. So how nice. So he says wave and ray, but he doesn't say ray of light. He says ray of breath. Interesting as well, right? I didn't prepare this beforehand. But remember that I said that traditionally the Gayatri mantra we chanted and aligned with the breath. So we would be inhaling for one Gayatri and holding for one Gayatri. So that's our breath. So Ravi Shankar says, yeah, all manifest and unmanifest, wave and ray of breath. Red lotus of insight. Red because it's like the sun is rising, so it's red. Yeah, I think it's clear. Red lotus of insight transfix us from eye to navel to throat. Under canopy of stars, spring from soil in an unbroken arc of light, that we might immerse ourselves until lit from within like the sun itself. From eye to the navel to the throat. So there's the 3 levels, yeah? The higher chakras, the lower triangle, and the heart in the middle, yeah? The middle, he would say, like the throat is very close to the middle, yeah? Under a canopy of stars, spring from the soil in an unbroken arc of light, that we might immerse ourselves until lit from within like the sun itself. So calling upon the light within us under a canopy of stars. This is referring to the crown chakra. Yeah. Okay. How about one more? Let's have one more. Let's read Shivananda. He is always a classic. Let us meditate on Ishvara and his glory who has created the universe. Now, interesting, Shivananda here has made it masculine, yeah? Who has created the universe, who is fit to be worshipped, who is the remover of all sins and ignorance, yeah? Light dispels the darkness. May he enlighten our intellect. So again, I don't know if these words, I don't know in which language did he tell them. And he says here, yeah, I'm thinking about this, yeah? Okay. Who has created the universe? His glory, who has created the universe. I don't think Swami Shivananda spoke in English here. He probably spoke maybe in Sanskrit, or maybe, I don't know what language would he speak, Bengali or Hindi? I don't know. I don't know exactly where he was speaking when he made this quote. But this is probably a translation. And being a translation, I'm not sure that this is faithful to the original comments, because Savitri is definitely a feminine energy, right? So it's weird to say his glory here. So I'm thinking that's probably a translation thing. And when he says, may he enlighten our intellect, again, this he, I'm not clear, and intellect, again, this term that I'm very uncomfortable about the way it is translated. But anyway, I think it's good. Okay, let's read one more. Kirpal Singh, the last one. I'm not going to read any more, and then we're going to go for practice. Muttering the sacred syllable Om, rise above the 3 regions, Bhurbhuvasvaya, and turn thy attention to the all-absorbing sun within. Accepting its influence, be thou absorbed in the sun, and it shall in its own likeness make this all luminous. So you have to accept its influence, yeah? So we are asking for it. We are asking for it to come, and then we have to accept it. All right, so I think it's enough reading and enough analysis of the actual words themselves. And how about we can chant it a little bit? So I'll put it on the screen again. This is how I wrote it. And we will first chanting very slowly. And I'm going to leave a space in case you want to chant after me. If you have a chance, an opportunity, you can chant after me. And remember this idea. You are sitting by the lake or by the sea, and then you're looking at the sunrise. The sunrise is starting. The red color is on the horizon. You're focusing your eyes on there. And then you feel this flow of prana, of life force between the sun and you. And the prana is waking up in the world, and the prana is waking up in you. Let's go with that. Inhale. We'll do Om a few times, and then we'll go into the mantra. Om Bhur-bhuva Swaha. Om Bhur-bhuva Swaha. Om Bhur-bhuva Swaha. Tat Savitur-Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Bhur-bhuva Swaha. Om Bhur-bhuva Swaha. Om Bhur-bhuva Swaha. Tat Savitur-Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Bhur-bhuva Swaha. Swaha Om Bhurvibhuva Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Diyo Yona Prachodayat Om Bhurvibhuva Swaha Om Bhurvibhuva Swaha Om Bhurvibhuva Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Diyo Yona Prachodayat. Swaha Om Bhurvibhuva Swaha Om Bhurvibhuva Swaha Om Bhurvibhuva Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Diyo Yona Prachodayat Om Bhurvibhuva Swaha Om Bhurvibhuva Swaha Om Bhurvibhuva Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Diyo Yona Prachodayat Om Swaha Om Swaha Om Swaha. Inner lip. Exhale. So this is this was the first the first way we chanted it was to focus on the pronunciation, on the vibration of every sound, probably on the meaning as well. What are we meaning? What are we saying? Let's chant a different way. Now I'm going to offer two different ways more. One would be, now we're going to pay attention to the actual rhythm, and we're going to emphasize the rhythm, and it's going to be less devotional in some way. You can put your heart anyway, but it's probably be more focused on the technology of this Gayatri, of these 8 sounds, which is going to trap the mind, and hopefully by trapping the mind, entering into a state of meditation. We're going to try that one, and then we will do a more melodic one, which is more to open the heart. First, we're going to go for the rhythmic one. Om Bhurbhuvasva Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurbhuvasva Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurbhuvasva Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurbhuvasva Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurbhuvasva Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurbhuvasva Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurbhuvasva Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurbhuvasva Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurbhuvasva Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurbhuvasva Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurbhuvasva Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurbhuvasva Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurbhuvasva Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurbhuvasva Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurbhuvasva Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurbhuvasva Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurbhuvasva Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurbhuvasva Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurbhuvasva Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurbhuvasva Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurbhuvasva Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurbuva Swata Saviturvarenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodaya. Om Bhurbuva Swata Saviturvarenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodaya. Om Bhurbuva Swata Saviturvarenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodaya. Om Bhurbuva Swata Saviturvarenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodaya. Om Bhurbuva Swata Saviturvarenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodaya. Om Bhurbuva Swata Saviturvarenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodaya. Om Bhurbuva Swata Saviturvarenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodaya. Om Bhurbuva Swata Saviturvarenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodaya. Om Bhurbuva Swata Saviturvarenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodaya. Om Bhurbuva Swata Saviturvarenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodaya. Om Bhurbuva Swata Saviturvarenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodaya. Om Bhurbuva Swata Saviturvarenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodaya. Om Bhurbuva Swata Saviturvarenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodaya. Om Bhurbuva Swata Saviturvarenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodaya. Inhala, inhale. You may exhale if you were holding the breath and relax the breath. This was the rhythmic chant of the Gayatri, which helps to trap the mind. And I remember when I was in India, and there was a group there. I was there for a few months, and there was a group doing a retreat, a silent retreat, and they were spending the whole week in silence. But every morning they would gather for 1 hour to chant the Gayatri mantra in this way, the way I just chanted, and then they stay in silence the rest of the day, just letting the vibration stay in their consciousness. And it's really profound, very, very profound. But as I mentioned, some people may not like this version because it's very technical, let's say. And the Gayatri is such a beautiful thing. Some people may just enjoy to chant it in a more melodious way. In that case, we're going to chant it in another way. We're going to chant it in the melodic version. We could say that the previous version was the Shakti, and the way we are going to do it now is the Bhakti. So in the Bhakti version, you can focus on the heart and feel this, remember the meaning of the words and how associated to Savitri and feminine energy, and asking for the intuition, asking for the light to illuminate our minds and to move us forward. Yeah, and to bring into connection the three worlds within us. So we can make it like a prayer in a way. And let's chant it. Melodious way. Om Bhur-bhuvah swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat Om Bhur-bhuvah swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat Om Bhur-bhuvah swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat Om Bhur-bhuvah swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat Om Bhur-bhuvah swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat Om Bhur-bhuvah swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat Om Bhur-bhuvah swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat Om Bhur-bhuvah swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat Om Bhur-bhuvah swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat Om Bhur-bhuvah swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Diyo yo na prachodaya. Vaheguru. This was the melodious version. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the experience as well. 3 different ways to chant it and exploring the meaning of the mantra. I think today is this is a good place to stop. It's going to be a shorter stream today. It's an hour still, but I often do 2 hours. So today we're going to make it a little bit short. But I hope you enjoyed the Gayatri mantra. Considered one of the most sacred, if not the most sacred of the Hindu mantras from the Vedas, and the basis for many other mantras. It is said that after this mantra, after you chant this mantra, any other chant that you do, any other mantra is going to be charged with energy. So it's going to empower whatever you chant afterwards, or even whatever you say afterwards. So, after chanting this, let's be aware of our words, whatever we are saying. But until next time, thank you for being here. Thank you for practicing with me. If you were chanting, if you have a good experience, you can write in the chat, you can write in the comments afterwards and talk about how was your experience chanting the mantra. All the times that I'm going to be streaming for the next month are in the community tab on the channel. If anybody wants to know ahead of time when am I going to be streaming, hopefully I will not make any changes, but because I plan a whole month ahead, it may be that I may have to change something. If I have to change it, I will write it again in the community tab. But so we will see each other in the following streams, hopefully. One last comment I'm receiving. Let's see if it appears on the screen for everyone to read, from Bea. Thank you, Bea, for being here all the time. Definitely, I will stay with this mantra today. Satnam, thank you very much. Yeah, let's keep it in the background vibrating. Until next time, Satnam. Swaha. Yeah, Swaha.